Yes, it is. It's the day after Thanksgiving, supposedly the biggest shopping day in America. Is that right? Well, it certainly wasn't when I came to the station. It was Deadsville. On the other hand, I came at a very early time. Hi, everybody. Dennis Prager. It's the post-Thanksgiving show. I have this annually. The PTS, the post-Thanksgiving show. And I was on yesterday. Many of you sent me thank you notes. It was very sweet. It really is. And by the way, I deserve a thank you. Is that so bad to say? Uh-oh. Uh-oh. That was wrong to say, Alan?
It's fine.
Yeah. And what do you think? Is it okay to... What is wrong? You see, that's being honest. I hate fake humility. Oh, no, I don't deserve any thanks. I do deserve it. I could have slept and like everybody else. I mean... It doesn't matter. The question whether I deserve it or not is secondary to the fact that you deserve it too, Alan. You came in, Ann. Eva came in. Anyway, I do broadcast every national holiday because I want to help make those days meaningful, and it was a great show. I want to read to you an email. I asked people who had emigrated to the United States to express their thanks, to give their thanks on Thanksgiving Day to America. That was part of the show. Hello and happy Thanksgiving, Mr. Prager. As an immigrant from South Korea, I am grateful to God for my family, friends, being an American, and all the liberties associated in being an American, for all our troops fighting for liberty, both past and present, for all public safety personnel, especially those working on holidays that protect and serve, and for you, Dennis, for your continuous works. I would have called, but I know I would have choked up and possibly cried because of the vast and endless gratitude I have for what I have mentioned above and more. God bless you sincerely. Mi Suk. And she gives her last name. Well, actually, I don't know if it's a she. I take that back. He or she. Isn't that touching? No, it's typical of the emails that I got. You don't hear from them, though, you know? You don't hear from them. That's why it was so important for so many people to hear what went on yesterday. And you can podcast. You can go to pragerradio.com and get yesterday's show, and it's worth it. Play it for your kids because they don't know. They're not told it's a great country. They're told that George Washington had slaves and it's a racist country and that 35 million people are hungry. That's my new favorite one. 35 million Americans are hungry. Can anybody name one? Would somebody call me if you know somebody who is? That's a lot of people, 35 million. It's more than 1 out of every 10 Americans. Where are they? Who are they? It's not true, by the way. The figure is not true. It's what was the word that they used? There is another word.
Food insecurity.
Food insecurity. Of course, the food problem in America is obesity, not hunger. But you can't run for office saying Americans are too fat. Though I'm amazed they don't blame George Bush for obesity. It may be the only problem in America for which he is not blamed.
It's coming.
It is, I'm sorry?
It's coming.
It's coming? Give me, all right, come on, let's use our heads. What would the scenario be to blame President Bush for obesity?
That's easy.
Okay.
He hasn't changed the school lunch menu.
Okay, that's it. Thank you. There is a powerful piece by the left equivalent of Ann Coulter, and I don't say that. By the way, I don't say that as a negative. She's a little over the top. She's very witty. She's attractive. Maureen Dowd and Ann Coulter are pretty similar. One on the left, one on the right, and there's a place for them. They're not running for office. They're not running for. Is Maureen Dowd also single? I have a feeling. Yeah, it works out really balanced sort of thing. Maureen Dowd is no fan of Hillary Clinton. She writes a very interesting column here in the New York Times, where she is the columnist. And let's see. The news conference Barack Obama was asked about Hillary Clinton's attack on his qualifications. Making an economic speech in Knoxville, Iowa, earlier that day, the New York senator had touted her own know-how, saying that, quote, "There is one job we can't afford on-the-job training for, that's the job of our next president." Her aides confirmed that she was referring to Obama. Pressed to respond, Obama offered a zinger, feathered with amused disdain. Quote, "My understanding was that she wasn't Treasury Secretary in the Clinton administration, so I don't exactly know what experience she's claiming." Everybody laughed, including Obama. It took him 9 months, but he finally found the perfect pitch to make a trenchant point. And she goes on to say, to quote, that is Maureen Dowd, to quote Joan DeCola, a Boston lawyer, in a letter to the Wall Street Journal this week. And this is the letter. This is quoted by Maureen Dowd in this column on Hillary Clinton. "She hasn't accomplished anything on her own since getting admitted to Yale Law. She isn't Dianne Feinstein, who spent years as mayor of San Francisco before becoming a senator, or Nancy Pelosi, who became Madam Speaker on the strength of her political abilities. All Hillary is Mrs. Clinton. She became a partner at the Rose Law Firm because of that, Senator of New York because of that, and heaven help us, she could become president because of that." The Clinton campaign, end of quote. The Clinton campaign in Iowa is in a panic. Obama has been closing the gap with women, and her ginning up of gender has lost her male votes. Speaking around Iowa this week, Obama made the point that his exotic upbringing, family in Kenya, and years as an outsider allowed him to see the world with more understanding and helped form his judgment about resisting the Iraq War. So then she quotes Obama, and then she has, as it happens, that she, meaning Hillary Clinton, has a great zinger against Obama. This is what Barack Obama said. "I spent 4 years living overseas when I was a child living in Southeast Asia," he said. "If you don't understand these cultures, then it's very hard for you to make good foreign policy decisions. Foreign policy is all about judgment." So then she said to Iowa, the crowd in Iowa, "With all due respect, I don't think living in a foreign country between the ages of 6 and 10 is foreign policy experience." You got to admit, they both have really good lines, and they're devastating in my opinion. I mean, how could he with a straight face say that? "Well, I lived abroad for 4 years, between 6 and 10. So what? It's hard to take him seriously to use that argument. By the way, living abroad can or does or doesn't, but there's no guarantee living abroad makes you understand others better. You may not, and you certainly may not understand your own country better. I mean, if living abroad is the greatest criterion for making foreign policy, then the State Department should make foreign policy. They're filled with people who live abroad their whole adult life. It's the worst place for foreign policy. Somebody, if he gets the nomination, should make that point. Folks, I must say, I am willing to go on record, and I'm not a predictor. It's not my field. But I don't think the Democrats are a shoo-in at all for the White House. I mean, the press would like to create this inevitability thing, but I don't know. I just don't know. I don't think Barack Obama has the. I mean, he's too left for the country, frankly. I think most Americans hearing the line, "Well, I would sit down with Kim Jong-il, and because I am charming," that's the implicit notion, "I will charm him into giving up nuclear weapons, or stop starving his people, or stop threatening South Korea with a war." There's an article by a British writer about how, in fact, where that is tried, it doesn't work, but where war is tried, it happens to have worked. It's working in Iraq war, and talking with Iran isn't working. Talking about talking, by the way, this coming week in Annapolis, Maryland, they're having a new Middle East conference. the president was pressured into doing this. I will tell you, you will laugh. I believe you will laugh when I tell you what the Palestinian delegation has already disqualified from discussing. That and much more when we come back on the Dennis Prager Show.
Right this minute by logging on to eharmony.com. The Newsmaker line on the Dennis Prager Show is sponsored by Jigsaw Magnesium. To find out if you're at risk for magnesium deficiency, visit jigsawmagnesium.com.
Hi everybody, Dennis Prager here on the post-Thanksgiving show. And I wanted to make an announcement about the Prager listener groups around the country. We're talking big numbers now all over America. And in fact, some people want to start them abroad who listen on the internet. So wherever you are, Canada or elsewhere in the world, absolutely. I mean, there are cities I'm not even on in, and they have people forming listener groups. So please do go to pragerradio.com and go to the section where it says Prager Meetups. It's on the top right. And sign in, and we'll send you. It's already happening, by the way. Meetings all over the country are happening. I met with folks in a number of the cities that I've just been to who came by to talks I gave. I want to announce as well that for the San Diego or a San Diego group, Liberty Tobacco, one of my sponsors on KCBQ down in San Diego, offered, because I was visiting there, offered to give his place over to a meeting of listener groups. I mean, to me, the thought of a Prager listener group in one of the great cigar places in America, oh my God, I'm salivating. Anyway, people are very excited by this. They're having meeting after meeting. It's a way of meeting like-minded, generally. I mean, it doesn't mean you'll agree on everything. My listeners don't agree on everything, but at least you agree that it's worth listening to. At the very minimum, you like the idea of elevated talk. And so that's terrific, and you should meet. So go to pragerradio.com and click on there. And I was mentioning to you about the left in the U.S. being the most, right now, probably the most dynamic left in left. The most dynamic left. In Europe, there is a real movement toward lower taxes and toward less union power. By the way, even now, only 7% of workers in France are union members. That's less than the United States. That was news to me reading this article. Stranded commuters and students missing first semester exams, among others, are not just frustrated but also angry. This is the LA Times. At those striking in the name of leftist ideology or fighting of, it's the LA Times, or fighting to preserve special privileges such as retirement on a full pension at age 50. That was the mind blower for me, wasn't it? So there is a real disgust. And look, Sarkozy loves America, announces he loves America, and the guy's popular. I told you folks, and this bears constant repetition, it is not the world that hates America, it is the left that hates America. So somebody asked me just yesterday, well, but what? So, but most of Western Europe has anti. I said, but most of Western Europe are leftists. It doesn't. Eastern Europe, it's not the case. So it depends where you go. Yeah. Question is, can we say that about the left in America? Well, I got to tell you something. It's very hard to say you love a place that you think is as bad as many on the left think America is. I'm not saying they're not patriotic, nothing like that, but I'm asking an honest question. How do you love someone or something you think is intrinsically bad, intrinsically racist, intrinsically xenophobic? I don't mean it has in it some xenophobes and some racists and some sexists, but is systemically such. I love America, but it doesn't care about 35 million hungry people. I love America, but it is a racist country and always has been. Imagine if you said that about your wife or your husband. Oh, I love my wife, but she doesn't care about hungry people. She's a racist. She is a bigot. She hates strangers. She's selfish, but I love her. That's the left's view of the United States. All those things, but oh, I love it. What do you love about it? Well, they asked Herbert Marcuse, the famous leftist professor, and he said, I love the mountains and I love the rivers. He was very honest. There was not much to love about America because of the way he depicted it. That's a question for you. If you're on the left, tell us, what do you love about America? 1-8-PRAGER-776.